The purpose of this project is to reflect on her growth during the completion of an entire path. The time for our timer is 10 to 12 minutes. The beauty of Pathways is that it so easily translates to your real world. Many of the projects can be used to further your personal and professional goals. Throughout this year, our next speaker took on challenges and projects that helped fine-tune her vision for the next chapter in her life. This has been the best Toastmasters year to date, and her belief in Pathways is stronger than ever. With her speech titled, "It Works If You Work It, So Work It, You're Worth It." Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Nadia Gilks.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Are you getting the most out of your Toastmasters experience? Some of you may be wondering, well, what does she mean by that? Just as earlier we heard how to get the most out of our library membership, and it can do so much more than get us a book, your Toastmasters membership can likely get you so much more than what you're initially using it for. Do you see a project and then come up with a speech to fill it just to check it off? I'll admit, up until about a year ago, that's what I did. Many of you in the audience today have probably heard more speeches about my favorite singer, Pink, than you care to count. And yes, every time you do put yourself on the agenda to speak, you are getting stage time, stage time, stage time, and you're building confidence. But that is just the basic level of growth. You can do so much more with your Toastmasters experience. You can actually make it translatable to your real world life, whether that's your career, what you serve in your community, in your church, or if you're building a business or selling yourself. You don't have to just come up with a speech just to fill a project. There is more out there. The path I just completed is visionary communication. And within this path, I completed 3 major projects. The first one, as many of you know, I served for the past year as the public relations manager. A year ago, it wasn't something I ever even considered doing, and I was pretty shocked when Steve Goldstein also asked me to serve. Sherry, he ropes us in, right? He asked me to serve, and I wasn't even sure when I started if I knew what I was doing or how successful it would be or what to do, because I don't consider myself a public relations guru. I don't build websites. I'm not a graphic designer, and that was my viewpoint of the role. Going through the journey, I learned that it was so much more than building a website. It was really getting out, networking, promoting our district, putting ourselves on the map in many different ways. I was stretched, I grew, I had the opportunity to lead in my own way, and I really fell into a rhythm and was able to embrace the role and serve our district well. I also sent out a 360-degree evaluation. I did not have the good fortune that Sherry did. I feel like I must need an act of Congress to get those things back, because I didn't really get any back. Maybe I need like a PDG after my name or something, and then they'll listen to me. But I will take the fact that I was eventually awarded Sparkplug of the Year as a compliment and a nod to the role that I served. Another project that really hit home for me and gave me skills that are translatable to my real world experience was the Build Your Social Media Presence project. Now, in this, you actually had to go out and do something into the real world and come back and tell your club about it. I had several ideas and goals that I'm thinking of pursuing, and this was the opportunity to take my goals and my dreams on a test drive of sorts. I knew that no matter what I did, whether it was launching my book or launching a business or just trying to further my network and broaden my circle, I needed to build a social media presence. I went through the modules, I looked at all the steps, I searched out different platforms on social media and decided those 3 or 4 that I wanted to focus on. And I really took a good month in that project, looking at analytics, looking at my starting point, looking at how much each page grew, what were people responding to. And then I came back after about a month and I gave a speech on that experience and what I learned in growing a social media presence. And again, that's not just coming in and giving a speech about my favorite singer, but it's something that gives me tools that I can use whatever I choose to do in life. We all have a need to sell ourselves, sell our business, sell our project, establish ourselves as an expert in our community. Whatever it is you're trying to do to further your career or your goals, social media is likely going to be a big part of it. Afterwards, I even crafted my 10 top tips for building your social media presence, and that has allowed other people to take on those tools and help build their own presences and businesses. The third project that I did actually was the crux of this entire path, and that was developing a vision plan. This I did work on for probably about 5 or 6 months, but I had a team along the way to help develop my vision, and I expected this project to go on for about a year. The project I chose was to be a campaign manager. This is something that's near and dear to my heart because I feel like I just have this calling in life to manage someone's campaign, as crazy as that sounds. When the opportunity presented itself within Toastmasters, again, I said, let me take my dream on a test drive. I will manage this campaign, I'll get a good foundation, and then I can go out with my social media presence and sell myself to the political arena and see who would like to hire me. What I didn't anticipate was that, one, I would inherit my team because I was brought on a little bit later than everyone else. And in large part, that was okay, but not the way that I had envisioned the role starting out. And another thing I did not expect was to get my footing into the role, get us all going forward on this train, headed to the convention in August, and about 5 months in, have my candidate send me a text message saying, I decided not to run after all. So I didn't get to the finish line on that project. But that's okay, because even in not making it to the finish line, I still learned a lot of lessons that I would take forward with me, and I still have a lot to go on should that politician come and say, hey, I want you to manage my campaign. The 3 things that I learned that I will carry with me: 1, when you have a project that hangs on someone else, you have to be a little comfortable not having control, because ultimately it was up to him to say yay or nay. And at the end of the day, when he said, I'm no longer running, I no longer had a project. I also realized I don't like not being in total control. But that's probably not a surprise to most of you on this call. Another thing I learned, and I'll say that I learned it, but my godmother kind of saw the writing on the wall and she warned me about it beforehand. But like a child, I had to learn things on my own. And that lesson is, you cannot be more invested in someone else's project than they are. It is just never going to work. There were some writings on the wall. I remain hopeful. At the end of the day, I ended up with a very truncated project. And the last one that I learned from that project is, again, I really loved my team. However, I would have done some things differently at the onset had I had the chance to choose my own team. So should I ever have that opportunity in real life, in the political arena, that will likely be a non-negotiable for me, is that I must choose my team so that I know who I'm working with. I choose people where we all work well together and there's no learning or getting together to gel on the front end. You can just jump in and get going for this candidate and serve them in the best of your abilities. So that glimpse offered me a great learning experience, and it hit home the point that even when you don't succeed, you still can learn a great deal. After finishing this visionary communication project, I was extremely proud of all the efforts I put forth this year. I truly felt that this year, above all else, was that year where I really took the projects to heart. The traditional path was great, gave us a great foundation, a lot of those fundamentals, blocking, stage presence, gestures, vocal variety. But Pathways just offers something so much deeper. You really can go out into the real world, fulfill a project, a dream, a goal, and then you come back to the club experience and you tell other people about it and you inspire other people with it, or you pull other people into it. Like later today when I meet with Melissa, because she has a project going on that she's going to translate to her real life experience. So I really urge all of you to really take those modules to heart. Use your Pathways experience to further your goals and dreams. This is that place where you can fail forward. When you come back to the club experience, we are your free evaluators. We give you feedback that is going to help launch you into the next level of your career. And we're all here to support and embrace and encourage and give you that gentle nudge so that you can succeed. Because it truly is a family atmosphere. Everybody's success is our entire success because we put into it, we applaud you, we cheer you, and we push you on. I received a lot of that this year. My Toastmasters family, my Jackpot family really supported every endeavor that I did, and I see the growth. I see how much I've changed. I see how much leadership means to me, and I'm thinking of what my next chapter will be, in large part because of this project and this path. So yes, Toastmasters works if you work it. So work it. You're worth it. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Nadia. How awesome.